Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I think one must be a fool to not realize that this war in Ukraine offers a lot of opportunities for change. In this case, Belarus, put aside Russia, but Belarus. Belarus and Lukashenko, its president, they say the self-proclaimed president of Belarus, however he is over there, he's in charge. They're doing something that the West doesn't like, which is in a union state with the Russian Federation, is having right now nuclear weapons deployed on its territory, so it's going to be a hands-off Belarus for a while. So the mass media calls Lukashenko, the president of Belarus, the self-proclaimed, so that means they do not recognize his authority. All right, I don't think he gives too much about all that. But this Ukraine war, I think, is one of the only opportunities for the West to organize, if they want to take care of the self-proclaimed president, to organize a little Bay of Pigs incursion. I think it might have the same result, but they will try. When things are murky, you can push the limits more than in plain day. That's why most crimes occur in the night. Why? Because you don't want to see what's going on. It's kind of like during the day you know exactly who's Gigi, who's Mikey, who's and so on. In the night you're not sure. All cats are gray or black or whatever that is. So we have here the Belarusians claiming that the West is training terrorists, according to the Belarusians, that's how they label those guys, to attack, to invade Belarus, and obviously topple the self-proclaimed president Lukashenko. I personally, if someone says this, I would believe it 99%. Why? Because of how things work in general in the world. And you would say, why not? He's a dictator, right? He's self-proclaimed. The Belarusians need democracy. So how can we do it? Well, we kind of cannot do it ourselves. We're going to do something else. We're going to pick the hot potato from the fire with someone else's hand. Give me your hand. Okay, thank you very much. Ow. So that's happening in Ukraine, and probably they want to do the same thing in Belarus. Not, the Poles or not the Americans or the Brits being involved. No, it's going to be probably Belarusians that, want to do this. It's always, you will always have disappointed and, unsatisfied groups of people in any society. And that's what usually happens. That's how you have spies, and that's how you have, double agents and so on. You're dissatisfied, I pay you more. You don't like what's going on in your country, then you're more easy to be dealt with. So here it's not hard, for instance, to say, okay, if this happens, you're going to be in charge. Let's put together this, and you're going to be, so let's go. I take my risks. If it doesn't work out, I'm going to still be sheltered by a Western country. So let's see what the Belarusians are claiming, and then let's discuss a little bit. Sputnik, 5 hours ago, updated 2 hours ago. Today is June 26, 2023. Terrorists trained, funded in West to invade Belarus, says Minsk security official. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this is, let's say you have a scale from 0, no opportunity, to 10, best opportunity. I think this is a 10. Okay, so don't let it slip away. How are you going to depose this guy again? What's it again? How are you going to depose Lukashenko? They were deposed. Earlier this month, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko warned of ongoing attempts to create extremist sleeper cells in his country. This happens everywhere, but anyway, this is not something new. This is regular practice for countries that want to destabilize other countries. Terrorists are being trained in Western countries to stage an armed invasion of Belarus. Deputy head of the investigative department of the Belarusian State Security Committee, Konstantin Biacek said. Speaking to Belarusian media, he pointed out that the committee is ready for this challenges, and that, and I'm quoting, relevant measures are being taken in line with orders by Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko. I think they have a brigade or something of Belarusians fighting in Ukraine, or they're waiting to do something to Lukashenko. I think these guys are saying something here as well. And I'm quoting, fugitive terrorists and the collective West standing behind them have no chance. We have sufficient capabilities to duly neutralize the terror threat, end quote. Bicek underscored. He added that the training of terrorists is carried out on the basis of the Foreign Special Forces, including the GROM military unit in Poland, the Lithuanian Rifleman Union, and the Security Service of Ukraine. And I'm quoting, the militants go through a baptism by fire on a battlefield in southeastern Ukraine, and shortly after they become instructors, preparing terrorist attacks and developing plans to invade Belarusian territory, according to Bicek. I don't know, it was someone Bicek, I think a Czech or a guy from Slovakia or Czech Republic. He stressed the State Security Committee knows the names of all those foreign special service officers who trained the terrorists, as well as the funds that finance their activities. This comes after State Security Committee Deputy Head Ivan Tartel said that some neighboring Western countries and Ukraine host recruitment and training camps for those who want to organize a rebellion in Belarus aimed at ousting the government. According to him, representatives of the radical opposition have asked Western sponsors to provide them with $250 million for subversive activities. I mean, okay, no wonder. In the same vein, a UK newspaper reported earlier this month that Belarusian militants who plan to take part in an armed uprising attempt against Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko are undergoing combat training in Poland. No surprise here. According to the newspaper, several hundred Belarusian citizens are currently deployed at training centers in the city of Poznan. The centers were reportedly created by former Belarusian Special Service employees who left the country after the 2020 presidential election. The report followed Lukashenko stating in early June that members of the illegal armed groups are being trained in Poland, Lithuania, and Ukraine, and that attempts are being made to create sleeper cells of extremists directly in Belarus. Now, again, if Poland, Lithuania, Great Britain consider themselves the good, and we consider Belarus the bad, or at least, Lukashenko the bad, everything makes sense and they are right to do it. Okay, but why? Because I'm going to turn it the other way around. So let's say tomorrow, Lukashenko or some newspapers in Belarus, I don't know, reports that, hey, we train some militants, some Polish militants, some people that are from Lithuania, will come in Belarus to organize an uprising in, let's say, in Poland. How do you think the Polish government would react to that? Let's say tomorrow Mexico says, well, you know what, we got some extremists from the United States of America crossed the border in Mexico, and they train over here, they have their own camps, they get money from, let's say, Canada, sponsorship, and they train over here. How do you think the US would react? I think the US military will bomb inside Mexico those camps, right there. But hey, that's because we're good and they're bad. So, you understand. The same, let's say tomorrow we'll have an article in a Belarusian newspaper that there are a group of Lithuanians, who came from Canada or from France or from wherever, extremists as they are, they're being trained by the security forces of blah, 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 to invade Lithuania and change the government through an 2014 Ukrainian-style democratic change. Wink, 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 big winks. All right. What would you think the Lithuanians say? Hey, it's okay, man. Let them come over. Do you think they will not yell and say, my pussy hurts? Anybody? And the United States will be, I'm coming over, Red Rover. So, These guys nonchalantly report this kind of things like being normal. Why? Because they think they're the good and they think this guy is the bad. Now, my point is this: you're not the good, you're not the bad. You are the good and bad, and you are the good and bad. It's just a proportion. And remember, if you don't do what I want you to do, you're bad for me. But you can consider me bad for asking you, or not even asking you, trying to impose that on you. So you see, we can consider both you're bad, you're bad in the same circumstance. But if you look at it, how should I put it, objectively, we could find who is the bad and who is the good in that particular circumstance. If you have a clear-cut circumstance. Like right now, Poland allows, according to these guys, as far as I know, Western countries allow these guys to train on their territory for a violent coup. Now, what if that happens the other way around? How would you consider that? Unless you consider yourself good. I think they should not allow that to happen. I mean, if you want to be good, you would not say, no, not, we don't allow these kind of trainings, if that's accurate, if the Belarusians report accurately. But they say, well, the British reported that and so on. So must be true because they are the good, free media out there. So anyway, I think a little Bay of Pigs will happen in Belarus sooner or later, before what's going on in Ukraine ends. They have to seize this opportunity. This is a golden opportunity for those guys to take care of the self-proclaimed president of Belarus. If this settles, everything will be like the sun is in the sky, daylight, you see who's who, what's what. Right now it's all like, you don't know who's punching, who gets it, and so on. As I said, I think that's accurate. I give it 99%, not by information I have, but I would say, okay, it happened before. What's the difference? What's the point? What's the problem? So they do it. The problem is it's like normal. I don't think it's normal whatsoever. You train some guys to overthrow a government that you don't like, a country that you have nothing to say in it. Nothing. It's none of your business, Lithuania, Poland, Lukashenko, you need to go, and we're going to have these guys to train them on our territory against their goal. You're supporting them. And always think like this. If you think that's fair, then think the other way around. Would it be fair done to you? Unless you think you're good and they're bad, which I don't think that's the case. I think they're all good and bad, as we all are. Unless, I know, we are... Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.